Aprilia Superteen Challenge with this new Aprilia RRV 450/50 of Connor Tags on pole position. If you missed all the explanation of that from race 1, I'm not going to go through it all again here in race 2. We'll concentrate on the racing, but of course you can watch it back again on the ThundersportGB iPlayer. So go on to www.thundersportgb.com and you can watch all the races back however you want, when you want, and you can hear what it's all about, that Aprilia RRV 450 there. If you want to get involved in Aprilias in general, if you want an RS125 or you want one of those Aprilia RRV 450/50s, then of course you can go and contact Ian or Myra Newton on ApriliaChallenge.net, etc. You'll find all the details on the Thundersport website too. Down into turn 1 then it is going to be Max Cook, I think, who's just got the whole shot number 1. Good stuff from him then. The rest of the super teams, of course, are going to be fighting it out for second place overall, which I think will probably go down to the final round. There was one of the super teams there waving his head, not very happy with something that's just happened up ahead of him. But Max Cook, number 1, it is, that leads from number 50, Connor Tagg. Then in third place is number 55, which is Jack Scott from Luton. Earlier on, Alex Wood, number 26, and 24, Max Lofthouse were on the podium. Max Lofthouse certainly a rider to look out for from Burnley, who's been going well. Now looking back from Max Cook on to Connor Tagg. Connor Tagg, who started out with the Aprilia Superteens in 2008 and actually raced on a Superteen at this Donington Park GP Circuit as a support race to the MotoGP that year with Thundersport, so he remembers this very, very well, and at the moment he's working that Aprilia RRV 450/50 as hard as he can, trying to get in the slipstream. You can see there's not a lot of differences there in speed as they head down towards the Foggy S's. Keeping up with them in the early stages are number 26 Alex Wood and 55 Jack Scott, which is nice to see. So this 450/50 is bringing on 1 or 2 riders. Max Cook it is that leads into the Melbourne Loop. Then there's a gap back to Max Lofthouse there, 24, he goes underneath Charlie Atkins. There is 96 Reese Irwin, 77 is Cade Burwey, and 39 Connor Sellers. There is another race going on further back as well, a split start for the Thundersport 500 Cup. Dave Bezic, who picked up a couple of wins yesterday, good old Dave, is currently fighting along with Kev Little, Elliot Humphrey, Paul Sawyer, Chris Cooper. Good story about Elliot Humphrey actually, on my way back from Jerez on a flight. Randomly allocated seat with a budget airline, I should just point out. And I was sat right next to 2 Thundersport 500 riders, as if by chance. Elliot Humphrey and Matt Snow. What are the chances? This is Max Cook then that leads, number 1 from number 50, Connor Tagg. The pair of them have ditched the rest. The rest of the pack there not quite able to hang on to the tails of these two. Max Cook really has come into his own this weekend. The Superteen champion has been pushed all the way and has led for longer than we've seen him so far this weekend. Connor Tagg, in fact, just trying to find a neat and clean way past. He will have been given a few words in the ear by Ian Newton and co before the start of this race. Whatever you do, don't wipe out Max Cook and try not to throw this new bike that's sort of currently under research down the road if you can. He didn't listen to that on Friday, I should point out, when he crashed it within about 2 minutes of getting out on circuit. We're now on board with Max Cook, and that looks like it might be the first move made by Connor Tagg. No, Max Cook shuts the door. He doesn't care whether there's research and development going on. He wants to keep Connor Tagg behind him for as long as possible as they go down into the Melbourne Loop. And so far, Max Cook going very well indeed. These guys lapping in the 151s. As I mentioned earlier, the old lap record 53.4, so they're 2 seconds quicker than that. There's Max Lofthouse, number 24, up ahead of Charlie Atkins. Pint-sized Charlie Atkins. He certainly hasn't done any growing so far this year. He might do in the winter, of course. That's so often what we see. We go into the winter, we come out the other side, and they've normally grown by about 2 metres, and then they've got deep voices as well. Will that happen for Charlie Atkins? We'll find out when we roll out again in 2016. But we've got one more round after this, of course, Cadwell Park next month. There is Max Lofthouse, then he's pulled away from number 6, Connor Thompson. It's a funny story about Connor Thompson running the number 6. Dad has decided, because he's been upside down so much in the last couple of rounds, that the number 6 effectively, if it is upside down, becomes the number 9. And there's some confidence in your child, as we see there. Max Cook being overtaken finally by Connor tag, and yes, Connor goes through. I should just point out, by the way, Connor Thompson has been just lacking in a bit of confidence, so it's nice to see he's back up there again, the rider from Hawley on the CRT Racing Aprilia. He's a good rider, and he's a newcomer this year, and I suspect we'll see him on the podium more regularly next season. It's Connor Tagg then that's got out front again. There's Matt Bauer, number 78. There's Reece Irwin as well, and number 39 is Connor Sellers from Nantwich on the Motrack Racing Aprilia. But it is the 450-50 that has the advantage there up ahead of Max Cook. Max Cook trying to find a way back past and just revving down the gears into the Melbourne Loop. See the speed that Max Cook carries around the Melbourne Loop there. Connor has a look over his shoulder. You're not going to break him. You are not going to break him. There is number 26, Alex Wood, and then he's just gone past one of the Thundersport 500s. That is Dave Schofield. And then the battle for the remaining Superteen places as well. You can see there Max Lofthouse. Now, final lap, going across the line. Max Cook, a 150.914 for Max Cook. The old lap record of 53.4, that's 2.5 seconds off the lap record for Max Cook. We wondered if we'd see anyone in the 150s this weekend. Well, we have now. That's quicker than even Connor Tagg's gone. Connor's in the 151s himself, so brilliant stuff there for Cook. This is number 26, Alex Wood. There is Dave Schofield. Then Charlie Atkins. 24 is Max Lofthouse. So at the moment, Charlie Atkins on for third in the Superteens outright, with Max Lofthouse just behind him, and then Connor Thompson. So all these guys, well, they're all fighting for the remaining podium places, aren't they? There is Charlie Atkins, number 56, currently third effectively in the Superteens, up ahead of Lofthouse and Connor Thompson. They're now coming up just to get past Dave Schofield. He's having his own race at the moment in the Thundersport 500 Cup. And there goes Connor Thompson, big and brave, and around the outside of both Max Lofthouse and Dave Schofield there. Brilliant stuff. But then, Max Lofthouse tries to go back underneath him. It doesn't quite work out for him. This is the battle for the remaining podium place on the podium for the Aprilia Superteens. Out front, it's still Connor Tagg and Max Cook. Here they come, chasing down those 500s, and Max Cook really has hung on to Connor Tagg very well here in the closing stages and almost hits him up the backside there. On board with Max Cook now, and now it's a race uphill towards the final turn here at Donington, and the grunt of that 450-50 has just about done its job, I think. But watch the speed of Max Cook around the final turn. Onto the start-finish straight we go. The checkered flag is out, and it is Connor Tagg that wins, and Max Cook takes the Superteen victory. And a thumbs up and a round of applause from Connor to Max Cook there as well. Brilliant stuff. We wait for second place. Well, Alex Wood goes across the line in second. Well, I've just seen on the time screen there that he's been given a 10-second jump start penalty, and I didn't spot that earlier. Sorry, folks. That means that this is effectively the battle for second, third, and fourth, and Charlie Atkins not very happy because he loses that battle. That means that Max Lofthouse will take second in the Superteens. Connor Thompson is on the podium, so good news for him. Then Charlie Atkins, and then Alex Wood, who loses out because of that penalty. There's the top three then: Max Cook, Max Lofthouse, and Connor Thompson. And here are the points. Max Cook, champion, and 252 points clear of Freddie Crane, who will go to Cadwell Park looking to fend off Charlie Atkins and Jack Scott. Connor Thompson fifth. In the Nitro newcomers, same story. Max Cook champion ahead of Charlie Atkins, Jack Scott, Connor Thompson, Alex Wood, and Max Lofthouse. Colin Thompson, great to have you back on the podium again. Third place here in the final race of the weekend at Donington. You must be very pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back on the podium after all my bad luck, yeah.
Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Ian Amaya, Lorraine for the Ben Gortry bike at Anglesey. I had a really bad weekend, so yeah, thank you. P&H Motorcycles, Mark Christie at Christie Glass, Dunlop Aprilia and Thundersport, and all medics and marshals.
Well done to you, Connor, and thank you very much. We'll move on now to Max Lofthouse. Max, your smile is getting wider and wider. You've moved another step up on the podium. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get to stick with the pack at the front this time, but I got a bit lucky. Alex jumped the start, and I think it was Jack who ran off. So Yeah, I got lucky.
You just keep on breaking records, don't you? Nitro Newcomer champion, Aprilia Superteen champion. You already had the lap record, but a 150.9, that's 2.5 seconds under the old lap record. Just amazing.
Yeah, well, I tried to beat the record. Well, they aimed for that race, so I really wanted to beat Connor, but it was a really good race. So we were like, trying to chase him, and at the last lap, I was really pushing it to try and get him into Melbourne hairpin. But I mean, it was just what a race. I mean, it's so good to have a really thrilling race like throughout the whole season, like again. So
You've got a lot of family, friends, and all sorts of people following you here this weekend. Who would you like to thank?
Let's say a huge thank you for Mum and Dad, everyone, like all my families for coming. Alice for doing the number ones, KJD Racing, Plum Surf, Aprilia Dunlop. I should do that at the end really. M4 Karting, Roy and Kathy from Canada, King's Two Wheel Centre, Gary and the team at Relic Cast, 100% suspension, Ian Newton, Medics, Marshals and everyone at Thundersport.
Join us after the break for the final race, the HMT Racing Super Twins, Stock Twins and Street Fighters.